Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our morning mentorship. This is week number 3. Thank you for hopping on and joining us, whether you're here live or watching the recording. And I'm sure many of you know Laura is in Japan, so she will not be on with us today. But you know what, guys? We have incredible leaders on this team. I mean, like dynamo leaders. And I want to bring up one today. We're on week 3 here. Gosh, this is halfway through our series on really pushing, moving forward into enrolling, converting people onto your team. And I just want to say how proud I am. Like so many of you have stepped it up, and you're doing the asks. You're doing 3 ways. And I want to bring up a powerhouse today because this gal inspires me incredibly. And if you guys haven't met Rachel Gershowitz, you will be meeting her. She is just an amazing leader, and I just truly admire her for so many reasons. I was just telling her, I sent her a voice memo this morning, and I'm like, Rachel, I just love you. Like, you're so amazing to work with. You're so easy to work with. There's literally no ego. And yet, guys, this woman has had incredible success in this industry, has been in a long time. And I just love having her on our team. And so I want to bring her up today and just highlight her. And there's so many others as well. But Rachel is like, she's a president now. And she is moving on up. She literally just started this past September. And I wanted to bring her up to ask her some questions about how she is enrolling people. How is she converting people? Because you know what? One thing that I do know, there is a mindset around converting and enrolling. And I want to talk about that today with Rachel because she's a master at this. So, Rachel, thanks for joining the conversation today. And would you be willing to share a little bit about your story? And then let's dive into the enrollment part and how you've been able to build a team to president so far.
Well, thank you, Stacy. And first of all, what a great way to wake up from a message from Stacy telling you how grateful she is for you. I mean, this is the kind of leadership that we have on this team. Stacy, you're just amazing. You're amazing. I knew my dogs were going to start barking as soon as I started talking.
We can't
Uh,
hear Rachel. We can't hear them. No worries.
oh, good. Thank you. I have my little clicker just in case. In case you guys have dogs, this is a little gem. It just makes a little high-pitched noise and it stops them in their tracks. But anyway, I'm very blessed to be on this team. God definitely led me here. I have been building a business like this since 2001. I started when I was 30, somewhere around there. My kids were babies. And I was really shy. I had panic attack disorder. I was definitely voted least likely to ever succeed in a business like this. I continued, it was the best thing I ever did for personal growth. I mean, that hands down. It really helped to develop me, to make me a better friend, a better wife, a better mother, a better leader in this company. And I'm just so grateful that God led me to this profession. I look back at it and I was like just a stay-at-home mom with acne that wanted $100 a month, and then it kind of found me and it just was incredible. I retired 4 years ago and never thought that I was going to ever jump back in. I mean, I did what I had to do. It was a huge blessing for my family.
Mm.
And then we got wiped out by a hurricane a little over a year ago. And so things drastically changed for us. And so I needed a reason to get off the couch. I needed a way to make money. I actually thought about going and working like at a cute little boutique. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, can you imagine trading all of that time for money? When I've never had a job other than a gymnastics coach when I was in college. I thought, oh my God, I mean, look at how many hours I would have to work to be able to make an income like this. I mean, just wouldn't even be possible. So I thought, okay, well, this is what I know how to do, but I just need to find the right company. And so I spent quite a few months looking. looking, talking to, like, I have a lot of friends in this profession now, being in for so long. And so I had a lot of different people in different companies and, that were doing really well. And so I had a lot of conversations. I had even had conversations with a few owners. And I really thought that I made my decision. And then Lisa Danks Gallagher gave me, well, she texted me one morning out of the blue, had not talked to her in 15 years and just said that she had woke up thinking about our family and was praying for us and wanted to know if I had some time to get on the phone sometime. And I said, sure, how about right now? And I had nothing going on. And so we hopped on the phone, and I thought she was going to tell me about a company she was with for 25 years. Actually, I had started having dreams about that company. So it was just kind of weird that she reached out and she told me about Partner Co and really threw me for a wrench because I thought I had my mind made up. And then she asked me to go to Dallas. And so I thought, you know what? No. And then she kept asking, and I said, well, I'll think about it. And my husband encouraged me to go, and it was the best thing that I did because I got to see it from my own two eyes and meet the people. And I mean, you guys, if you haven't been to an event yet, that changed everything for me. I just knew when I was sitting there that I was in the right place. I mean, I so felt it that it was so overwhelming for me. I literally couldn't stop crying for 3 days because I felt like God had led me here. And I set a goal to make, if I can make $1,000 a month, that would be huge for me. And I was just going to follow the system. And, I had been off the grid for about 4 years. So I hadn't really kept in touch with anybody. I didn't have a team. My husband and I were just bouncing around doing our thing. And I thought, I mean, I knew I had friends on Facebook, but I really did not know how it was going to go. And so I came home from Dallas and I said, I'm going to post 2 times a day. I'm going to boost. I'm going to do all of that because that's completely within my control. And I'm going to let God bring the people. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I didn't make a list of 100. I didn't start reaching out to my friends. I didn't do any of that. That's the stuff that I used to do when building my business. I used to sit at the table and I used to call people all day long and message people all day long. And I just didn't want to do it that way. And that's the reason I picked Partner Co because they truly had a system. I mean, you literally wake up, sorry, my phone. You literally wake up every day knowing exactly what you're supposed to do. And so that's all I've done, Stacy. Just post 2 times a day. Now, I will say I'm going into my 6th month. I am starting to write some names down of people that I would like to work with. I'm starting to reconnect with some old friends. I'm really making sure that I go to their wall on Facebook because I don't know if they're seeing my stuff, right? And commenting on some of their things so that I get put into their algorithm. So I mean, that's really the only changes that I've done over the last month, other than the SOG.
That is awesome. And you know what,
Hmm.
Rachel, something that stood out to me that you said is that you started out having anxiety and being shy and fearful. And, it doesn't matter where you start. It matters the choices that you make to keep going forward. Because, we all started it at a different place, right? We all have a different, you don't have to have experience in this industry to be successful. Um, and Rachel chose to keep going forward even when she felt scared and had anxiety and fear and worry, which I would probably say a lot of us have gone through similar things, haven't we, as we're growing a business? Like just me being here this past year and a half and what has happened here has majorly stretched me and grown me as a person. And, I've gone through my own fears and anxieties, but I love that the system is a starting place for us. Like you said, it's a
Hmm.
starting place. It's something that we all can do. And but even though you had been in the industry, Rachel, you also had been out of it for a while, and you literally experienced crisis in your life. Now, she kind of jumped over this, guys. She literally just said, "We got hit by a hurricane." Now, hold on a second, okay? She didn't just get hit by a hurricane, guys. Sure, she lost her house. Her house was flooded, destroyed, and they lost. like everything.
Everything.
Okay. That was a year ago before she found Partner Co. And she was having to figure out, oh my, what am I going to do with my life? I got to figure something out here. And once again, it doesn't matter what your starting place is. It's the choices you make going forward. I actually didn't know that when I started this business that my husband's career was going to take a major hit, that we'd lose half of our income with two girls in college. It was shocking. And so, again, it's the attitude and the decision to move forward and trusting in God to provide. So I'm so thankful too that God provided for my family. And so I just want to encourage everybody, if you haven't gotten to that place of like, okay, God, thanks for bringing me here. I trust you now. I'm gonna I gotta get some trust and some faith in action. I gotta put some faith in action because if we don't take action, what's faith, right? But let's talk a little bit about your mindset because Rachel, this is clearly a mindset that you have, which is a mindset for success. Yes, the system works, but you're also converting people to join your team. So, can you talk a little bit about what that looks like when you're following up with them, you're messaging them? Like, what's going on in your mind when what are you saying to them to get them on the phone with you? And what is your mindset when you're talking to them?
Well, I don't do anything other than what you tell me to do, Stacy.
We want
I
to hear from
literally
you.
follow your exact verbiage.
Right, but everybody, we want to hear it from you. So, like when you're on the phone
hmm
with someone, I mean, how do you get them on the phone? Let's start with that. And you can, if it's what I've taught you, then say that. But how do you get them on the phone, number one?
hmm
And then how are you converting them?
Well, I've got to say, most of the people that are on my team that I personally enrolled as brand partners have started. I think Jennifer Anderson started as a customer, so she started buying drops. She's on here right now. And I just stay in touch with her, on a weekly basis by text, right? And then try to hop on the phone with her every once in a while to kind of feel how she's really liking it because I want to hear their voice, right? And then she decided that I'm always asking the question, are you interested at all in the income side of things? No, and she said, no, not yet, not yet, not yet. And then she finally said yes, right, Jen? And then we have Reese. So Reese actually was the first person I ever signed up. So, just by making my posts on Facebook, she reached out to me. I think I got her on with you, Stacy, a three-way Zoom right away. Because I had no story and I really didn't know what I was talking about. It was right, I think it was in the first week. And then Reese says, okay, sign me up with 30, right? So that's just somebody from posts. And then let's see, who else do we have on here? Melissa. So Melissa and I have been Facebook friends for years and years from a previous company, but we never met personally. And she just reached out from a post and just wanted to sign up to do a business. So, I would say quite a few of the people that are on my team, they just signed up to do the business. But then I have converted some as well that were droppers just by keeping in touch and asking the question and trying to get them on the phone so that I could just have a conversation with them. Just ask them, just like a girlfriend conversation, really, right? And then kind of finding out what's going on in their life through asking questions. And then kind of trying to say, hey, have you ever considered the income side of these drops? Because it's incredible. And in the beginning, I didn't have a story, so I always shared your story, Stacy. And that's what you need to do because if you guys feel like you don't have a story, somebody has a story. So grab one, get really good at telling it until you have your own story. But the other thing, and I think that the reason that I have quite a few people that are doing the business from my Facebook posts is I do follow the SOG, on boards, but I also go live and I just sit in my backyard and I talk about what's going on in my life. And I talk about my favorite products and I talk about my health issues and I talk about my financial issues and I just literally lay it all out. There's nothing too embarrassing for me to tell the whole world, because I always feel like there's somebody else out there that if they hear my story, it will help them. And so I've done that through making posts with just a picture. I've done that through lives. And I always ask myself, why don't I do more lives? Because every time I do a live, I get multiple people that will reach out and they're either so interested in the product or they're so interested in the business. And so I've committed to myself starting next Friday. I am going to go live once a week on Friday and just update the world on whatever it is going on in my life or, my favorite product or, financially or kind of where we are navigating in our crazy hurricane world. And so I feel like just being super authentic um, is just really important because it just builds trust, whether people know you or they feel like they know you, right?
Rachel, oh my gosh. Imagine if we all just did this, right? If we just all went live once a week to start, how that could not only help our algorithm, but it could help people just to see who you are as a person. And
Hmm.
look what she's saying about being on the phone with people. I think we can get so worried about what am I supposed to say? Guys, just be a girlfriend. Be somebody that genuinely cares. Be yourself. Be curious. Ask those questions to understand, how their life is going, what's going on in their life right now, listening for how this could be a fit for them when you're on the phone with them. And so these are just such really powerful nuggets today, Rachel, that you shared. And I just love, you know what, that you got over yourself, right? I think we all got to get over.
Trying.
Well, you're good at you're doing it. And so, this morning I was on a walk and I was praying, God, make me more courageous. Give me boldness. And I think we all need more boldness and courage, don't we? But you know what? We don't get it unless we just go forth and do it. And so it's, yeah, you can ask for it, but it's a decision to do it and to take that action, to be bold, to be courageous. And so, is there anything else you wanted to share, Rachel, about converting? Because that mindset piece right there that I heard from you is you're just like, be a kind, caring, genuine, authentic, humble person when you're on the phone with someone and genuinely care about their life because we've all heard people don't care how much you know. They don't care how much you know about Partner Co, how much you know about products. And yet we all stop ourselves because we think we got to know all these things about the products. We got to know everything about the compensation plan when really that's not what ultimately drives people. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. They're drawn to you.
That's right. That's right. And, it really and truly is about sincerely loving other people and wanting what is best for them, not what's best for you. Sure, I'd love to sign everybody up with a 30 pack, but I need to listen. I need to ask enough questions and do what's best for them. And I think that's something that I've always done. Even in the very beginning when I was really young and I started building a business and I was terrified and I used to have panic attacks. And I mean, it was super scary for me. I used to we did home parties. So I just sit on the floor. I'm like, excuse me, I'm going to sit on the floor because if I don't, I might pass out. And so I'm always like, I just told him I had anxiety right off the bat. And so you just really just need to be you. There's nothing magical because if you try to be somebody else or you try to act like you know this or you know that, they really don't care. They just care that you care about them, right? And so by just being that friend and asking enough questions and listening, that's all you have to do everywhere where you go, whether you're having a conversation on the phone, whether you meet somebody when you're out, maybe you're out shopping for clothes, just asking questions and listening because you guys know that you have the solution to everything, right? We have the solution for health issues. We have the solution for financial issues. We have the solution for friendship. We just have the solution. So if you listen, that will just kind of take you to the next step of what will naturally come out of your mouth.
So that shift right there, that people are wondering, how do you make the shift? The shift in the conversation, which starts by caring, loving, listening, being just a friend to them. And so you're listening for that place, right? For where this could fit in. So how do you make that shift then? How do you go from the initial listening, caring, small talk, right? Starting the
Mhm.
conversation to then going into the business side of it?
Okay, so for instance, last Friday night, my husband and I went to watch the sunset at this restaurant, and this woman next to me had an adorable purse. And so, of course, I have to comment on her purse, and which started the conversation. And she had just moved here from Germany, and she was living with her boyfriend, and she was telling me how bored she was and that she wanted to go to nursing school. And, I think she was late 30s, early 40s. So it was, it's never too late to start a new career. But she just said, I'm so bored and I would really like to make money. And I'm thinking maybe nursing. I said, Oh, why are you into health? And she goes, Oh, I'm so into health. I said, Oh, me too. I said, I'm actually have a business that I run from my home and I sell our main product is a homeopathic body balancing drop. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I love homeopathic homeopathy." And so then I switched the subject, you guys, because I don't want to I don't take that and run. I take that, lay it out, pull it back, right? Then start asking more questions about her, trying to develop a little bit of a relationship. And before we leave, she's going to be added on my Facebook. And surely enough, she started, looking at all of my posts and doing a little research, and actually sent me a message and said, "Wow, this sounds really, really interesting." And so we just start bantering. And so, what was your question, Stacey?
I think it's like, how do you make, I want to point
How-
something out to you because that is
mhm.
so important when you're meeting people out and about, and even when you're having conversations, that you don't just throw up about all these products and the business on people. And like she said, she told her what she did, but then she changed the subject. We've got to get comfortable changing the subject back to them. We've got to
Right.
kick it back to them and make it about them and not about us telling them everything that we're doing. Those are for the out and about type conversations, right?
But even on
Because
the phone, even on the phone. So if you're having a girlfriend to girlfriend conversation and you're catching up and you're asking all sorts of questions about them, and then they turn around and ask you a question and you just kind of answer it just slightly and then completely turn the conversation back on them. And if you do that a couple of times, it really creates curiosity. And they go, wait a minute, can you just stop and tell me
yeah,
what you're doing? Right?
it's contrary to what you think because you're like, "Oh, now they're asking me how I'm doing and I can just tell them everything."
And you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's actually like strategy
Hmm.
because it really is like doing what's contrary and really turning it back to them and making it about them. You guys ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People? That's exactly one of the first concepts, which is, like you gotta turn the conversation back to them. You've got to make it about them and not about you. This has been so good. So when you turn it back to them, what you're saying is it naturally comes back to the
Hmm.
conversation about being interested in the business. Now, if you got on the phone with them because
Hmm.
of asking them about the income stuff, you start off, being genuine and curious and asking them about their life. And then how do you transition into the income from there if it is somebody that's curious about the income?
Yeah, so I when I have now I have my own stories, so I kind of share, okay, well, I mean, you wouldn't even believe it. Like, and this is how I talk. You wouldn't even believe it. Like, my goal was $1,000 a month. I said, but my favorite part about this business is they allow you to retail the drops. I mean, if you buy 30 drops, you literally sell those 30 drops, you're profiting $2,500. And that's incredible. And then I tell stories about people on my team that have sold 230 packs or 330 packs. And that gives them like, wow, like you don't have to get into the compensation plan of the company. I mean, just by starting there, that is like, wow, like really? You can make like $80 a box? Yes. I mean, literally, you sell a box, ding, it's just such a great and simple business model. And then I talk about the marketing plan. I said, and all I have to do is post 2 times a day. I just make it so simple. They go, wow, okay, I'd really like to hear more. Now, of course, my three-way calls are way more structured than that. I mean, you're talking about a friend-to-friend conversation, right? Where somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, somebody that you're catching up with, somebody that you want in your business, they don't know it yet, versus when your team or you're doing a three-way call, you're much more structured in that aspect. The person that you're doing the three-way call is introducing and edifying you, and they're introducing and edifying the person that they're bringing onto the call. And then when I'm doing a three-way call, I always like to kind of go, oh, can you tell me a little bit more about you? Because the more I know about them, the more I can tweak my story, according to what I know that they're interested in.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Rachel, this has been an incredible conversation. And I just want to like, there's so many of you guys I know that have been, um, doing three ways this week, reaching out to people. And I just want to say, way to go. That's awesome. Just continue to do that. This is how you're going to grow a team. Remember, this is a build. This is a build. You got to put it in your mind that we are in a build, and this takes time to grow a business. I do want to shout out a couple people that I just see on the screen here, and I know there's many more of you, but I see Beth Keys. She reached out to me to do a three-way call with her, and guess what? She was genuinely herself, authentically herself, and met someone and invited them to chat. So, congratulations. I would love to hear more about the three-way calls that you guys have done this week. If you want to put them in the chat, I know Alicia reached out to me, Amy, and I know others have reached out to Laura and other leaders on the team, Rachel, other leaders. So I just want to say this is so exciting what's happening, guys, because as we keep just sharing from our hearts and following up with people, and I want to leave it with this because I know Billy Hagee is getting interviewed this morning on the Chris Doyle Zoom right now. Is can I challenge you guys to go live this week? Can you go live this week? I want to challenge you, and next week I want to hear how many people went live. Okay, let's challenge ourselves to go live once a week. I need to do it, guys. I'm not doing it once a week, so I'm going to challenge myself too. So let's leave it at that today. I hope everybody enjoyed our conversation, and thank you, Rachel. I just love hearing from you, and looking forward to hearing from more leaders as well. So, all right,
Thank you,
everybody,
Stacy.
have a
Bye,
good week.
everybody.
I'll post the recording.